So let's talk domains. The domain concept was first introduced in around 2007 and later in a book called Strengths-Based Leadership. And in there, they introduced for the first time the concept that signature themes could be arranged in one of the four groups. If you'd like to understand the science behind it, then I recommend you download the 2023 technical report that Gallup have produced. And on page 29, you'll find more details around the science behind these domains. Suffice to say that these groups have been statistically organized, but the jury's still out as to what it basically means. I've been working with the domains now for a number of years, and I'm going to share some insights with you that I think are hugely influential and useful for you as an individual to use. So the first thing to begin to understand is that there is sort of four orientations or compass points to them. The top orientation is the relationship and building domain, and you will see that these are orientated towards people dynamics. The bottom two are orientated not towards the environment, but towards assessing how something needs to be done. The right-hand side is orientated towards action, and the left-hand side is orientated towards contemplation. And I'm going to just unpack those terms in a little bit more detail. I will, in later videos, go through the specifics about the themes, and I will also, in the Talented Titan section on theme dynamics, be unpacking in quite a lot of detail on how the interaction between the domains takes place. But this video is just going to introduce the concept. So let's just have a quick look now at relationship building domain. Inside here are the signature themes that together are all orientated towards perceiving information that has to do with relationship building. In other words, the dynamics between people. Many of these themes can perceive who a person is. They can perceive how they are interacting with others. And so each of these themes have an intuitive ability to begin to understand how people are relating both to themselves and to others. This is why individuals very dominant, and I say with a number of themes in their top 10, these are very sensitive to psychological safety, trust. They're very perceptive about what's happening and how people are behaving around them. Influencing, in contrast, is also socially orientated, but it's around getting people to act in a particular way. So these signature themes are quite strong. They use emotion to manipulate action. And I say manipulate in a nice way because the reality is the power of influencing themes lies in the way that it shifts people's states or emotions to drive particular actions. Each of these words is an action someone like to see, and in many ways it's also an outcome. In other words, we are looking for a particular outcome or movement to take place. So if you've got activator, what outcome do you want? I want movement. How often? Ongoing, please, if that's okay. Command, I want you to stand up, be courageous, face the threat and tackle it. How often? Preferably every time the threat comes. So each of these influencing themes is really around driving a particular action that is required. In the bottom half, this has got nothing to do with people. That's why individuals who are dominant down here with very little at the top don't seem to care too much about individuals, because in truth, they don't. Yes, as much as these individuals are shocked at the thought. These individuals will look at these individuals and wonder if they don't take life too seriously and are too sensitive. But let's just unpack these two domains. Strategic thinking is essentially around decision making using information. So people with a lot of strategic thinking themes like to get the information and process it themselves before deciding on a course of action. Each of these themes in the strategic thinking domain will process different types of information in a different type of ways. Execution is really around a visualization of how an endpoint should look. So each of these themes understands what finished looks like and will define that, and then they will take control of it. So the more executing themes you have in your top 10, the more you have a very clear idea of what finished looks like, and the more belligerent you will be about enforcing it. So the guys on the right here, these themes on the right, enforce particular actions. So they're quite driven and they're quite action oriented. These are more collaborative, more open-minded. So I'm thinking about something, if that's okay with you. And so there's very little action on the side, but there's a lot of processing taking place. You've got people watching behaviors and then thinking about them, watching and then thinking. The other side is basically going, this is a waste of time. So if you sit in all four, it could be a bit chaotic for you as to how you rationalize this. This is why I talk about the voices in the head. Right, let's just have a look at some results quickly and see how this plays out. Okay, so if you look on the right-hand side here, you'll have a look. There's relationship, there's relationship, there's relationship, there's relationship, then thinking, then relationship, then thinking, and then more relationship and a bit of execution. So this is a very contemplative individual. You can see that. Very dominant on the right side. So this is not going to be somebody who is prone to a lot of action and a lot of influence. So this could manifest as introverted, somebody who's very sensitive to social dynamics and spends a lot of time watching people and coming to the conclusions as to how people are behaving. They then may create information to inform people on how they should behave better. If we have a look at the left-hand side, you'll see is very strong influence. In contrast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next dominant one is relationship. So essentially what you've got here is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of the 10 are socially orientated. So this is a person who's very perceptive about what's going around them in terms of social dynamics. But their dominance suggests that they are most sensitive to the way people are behaving in terms of getting stuff done. So this is going to be a motivational energy who is going to appeal to the relational elements of people to get stuff done. They're not necessarily going to be individuals who take accountability themselves, but they're certainly going to be motivating others towards action. They've then got thinking and 1 execute. So the thinking is ideation. So in this particular context, this is a person who's going to have lots of ideas that they're going to motivate people to action on their behalf, and then they're going to oversee that it's done properly. This theme dynamic process I'll unpack, as I say, in a lot more detail in the theme dynamic section of Talented Titan shortly. I'll be creating videos and you can join that section and benefit from it. But I hope you can see just as a brief overview on how potentially powerful the domain process is. In future videos, I will be sharing, focusing on each of the domains so you can gain a little bit more detail out of that process.